There's a storm brewing in the world of AI, because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, the one that started it all, is worried about competition. Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple, everybody is trying to make the best model. But who will win the race? And is ChatGPT really falling behind? Well, let's have a quick look at it all. Now, all of this started a couple of days ago when I found this article on Yahoo Finance. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman declares code red as ChatGPT competition mounts, specifically from Google and Anthropic, so Gemini and Claude. It states that Altman told employees in an internal memo on Monday that he was declaring a code red to dedicate resources towards bettering ChatGPT, given the pressure from rivals. The move will delay OpenAI's work on introducing other products, such as AI agents. Now, as we all know, the world of AI is a rapidly moving landscape. New models are coming out, new chips are coming out, new products and fits for AI are being found, like AI agents, or using them in combination with robotics. So this is a constantly evolving landscape, as you can imagine, just like the internet in the very beginning. And now, while everybody thought that ChatGPT was the king, they are struggling against competition. Which is not a good sign if you're invested in Microsoft, which has a big investment in OpenAI, or if you're planning to buy the OpenAI IPO when their stock first launches and you can publicly trade the company. And it could also be a lot of trouble for Nvidia, because if OpenAI, for example, fails as a company, this could hit other companies as well that are involved with OpenAI, like Nvidia, who supply a lot of the chips. So a lot of companies are trying to dethrone OpenAI. While they had the first mover advantage, being the ones to release ChatGPT and make large language models popular to begin with, and part of this whole AI race, they are now falling behind dramatically. And you can even see this when you look at the leaderboards and scoring boards of a lot of AI models. So let's have a look at a couple of those. Now first, let's start off with LLM leaderboard from Artificial Analysis. They use multiple different models. A lot of these models are like kind of universal models, just like how you have benchmarking models, for example, for graphics cards. If you're really into PC gaming, you've probably seen that before. It's just a set of tests and challenges to see how well they can complete them. And if you look at their Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, which is a bit of an overall challenge, and their Artificial Analysis Omniscience Index, which is more science-directed, you can see that Gemini 3, which is what everybody's kind of hyped about lately, because this model has recently been released and it has been doing incredibly well, beating basically everyone, as you can see, because it's ranked by the score. And as you can see, the highest scoring is Gemini 3. And even if you look at them overall, for example, output speed for the tokens a second, you can see that Gemini 2.5 wins that. And even price per token, Gemma 3N wins. But regardless of actually what you look at, you can see that ChatGPT is nowhere near the top. They're not really doing that well. Even Anthropic is doing better than ChatGPT 5.1, which is not great, especially because of the fact that OpenAI has invested hundreds of billions into all of this. But now the others are winning, and especially Google is a bit of a problem. Now, if you look at LLM leaderboard from Vallum, who uses multiple different models, you can see that Gemini actually wins this fight almost every time. It wins reasoning, it wins school math, Ingetic coding, it doesn't win that fight, but it's still incredibly close to ChatGPT. And the best versions for this are actually from Anthropic, because they make Claude, this specific model. And if you look at all the others, best overall, best in visual reasoning, again, Gemini usually beats ChatGPT. And if Gemini doesn't win, Then Anthropic wins with their Claude model. And even here, they're not even in the top 5. So ChatGPT is losing the fight. And even if you go to Live Bench AI, you can see again who is the winner, who is the best. It's Anthropic and Google. It's Gemini 3 Pro and Claude 4.5. Those are the best performing. This is a bad sign, especially now that OpenAI is thinking of going public with the company so they can get more investors in, and a lot of people are hoping that they can see strong positive growth in OpenAI and that they are the leading AI company, so they're like ahead of everyone else, especially when it comes to their technology and everything you would want, like a moat. You know, just like how Microsoft is ahead with Windows compared to almost any other operating system on the in the world. The only competition they really have is Apple. You know, but everyone else, they can't even touch Windows. They can't even get close. That's what a lot of investors want to see from OpenAI. But the chances of that happening are relatively low now that they are losing to Gemini and Anthropic. This is why they are shifting their focus from creating all kinds of new products and new markets for AI to enter to just making the base, the fundamentals, the core of the business, the strongest and the best it can be and able to beat all the competition. That's why they're shifting that focus. But I'm not really sure if they could do it. And in the end, especially Google has a massive advantage. As we all know, Google has a very dominant position in the search engine market. Everybody that uses the internet uses Google search. Nobody uses Bing, nobody uses DuckDuckGo or any other alternatives. Google is the main one. And now, with the whole AI race, Google has put AI front and center into their search engine. If I look up, when does autumn start? You immediately get an AI overview from Gemini with all the sources linked and everything. It looks really neat. And it's very easy to go fully into Gemini. And it's again built into the entire Google suite. So it's not just Google search, but it's also stuff like Gmail and also YouTube. And since everybody uses both YouTube and Google and Gmail as some of the biggest email services and search engines, a lot of people will be exposed to Gemini. A lot of people will be able to integrate Gemini into their Google Suite products that they've been using for a long time, making this a very logical starting point for a lot of AI users instead of going to ChatGPT. Sure, in the beginning, they might have used ChatGPT because Gemini was not part of Google Search and YouTube and the whole thing. But slowly but surely, they will move over to Gemini. I think at least, because it's so easy to use. It's such an easy step to go from A to B. It's just like using Google Maps. Google Maps has also beaten other companies like TomTom back in the day who did online maps for cars and the whole system so you can have it in your car and follow the TomTom to where you needed to go. That used to be a massive Dutch company, but now you can just go to I want to go to Amsterdam, and it will automatically show up on the chart where you need to go. So making it very easy to jump from Google to another Google product. And we will see the same thing with AI, with Gemini. Meanwhile, OpenAI and even Anthropic do not have this advantage. They really need to get people from the outside to go to ChatGPT and really use ChatGPT. I personally use Gemini most of the time. And now that Gemini is also winning in their models, I think it's quite clear that Google is going to win this fight. They are going to be one of the big AI companies. And there's one last thing that Google is doing that is putting them in a perfect position. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is the fact that Google is building their own chips. This is something that recently came out. That they're building their own chips and they are going to sell them even to competitors. And apparently Meta is in talks with Google to buy a high amount of their chips, like billions of dollars of Google's chips, to use them for their own AI needs. Because relying on one supplier of chips, in this case NVIDIA, is not perfect because it gives NVIDIA a lot of leverage, a lot of control, a lot of power, and kind of puts all the AI companies against each other, fighting amongst themselves for those chips, which pushes prices higher, slows down their ability to roll out and build infrastructure for AI and roll out new models and everything. So they are trying to diversify. This is also why many other companies are moving into the AI chip business, like Intel, AMD, Qualcomm. Everybody is moving into it because everybody wants a piece of the NVIDIA pie. This is also why if you invest in NVIDIA, you need to be a bit careful because they could lose market share or be dethroned. Still, NVIDIA will probably remain a big player in this market, but companies like Google and the others coming in will certainly harm their business model and their revenues to an extent. How much? We're not sure yet. But as it states here, for many years, US company NVIDIA shaped the foundations of modern AI. They were the ones who delivered the processing chips. But now, Google's decision to train Gemini on its own chips, called tensor processing units, changes that picture. It invites the industry to look directly at the machines behind the models and to consider assumptions that long seemed fixed. And as you can see, because a lot of the Gemini stuff was trained on their own chips, and Gemini 3 was also trained on Google's own chips, we can see that while NVIDIA has been screaming in a lot of their articles like, oh, Google is so much behind on us, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but it is creating the superior models. It is creating models that are beating a lot of other models. And for example, OpenAI, which is mostly using NVIDIA chips. Another advantage it gives Google, aside from apparently making great models and a new way of making money off of AI, it also gives them a lot of control. They can make their own chips, so they're not as reliant on NVIDIA, and they don't have to fight with all the other AI companies for NVIDIA's chips because they can make their own. They can make chips like Google TPU chips, these tensor processing units, specifically for what they need it to do. They can adjust it and change it without having to deal with NVIDIA, or that NVIDIA makes a new one, or that NVIDIA adds this new product feature, or this kind of architecture, or this software update, or anything. They can create it exactly how they want it to be. They can really tailor make it. And they can just supply it all to themselves and make sure that Google is good when it comes to AI chips, and any of the excess can be sold to competitors. Meanwhile, a lot of those companies that buy the excess will also build on top of the Google architecture and hardware, again, making their software and a lot of their patents even more in demand than they already are. While everybody thought that NVIDIA and OpenAI were the kings and that nobody could touch them and that they were leagues ahead of everybody else, the competition is slowly moving in, and they could actually dethrone these companies. When it comes to ChatGPT, there's already a really big chance that ChatGPT won't actually win this fight because of Google's incredibly strong position in Google Suite and search markets, as well as being able to supply their own chips, putting Google in a much better position than OpenAI is, even when they're working together with Microsoft to integrate ChatGPT into Windows. Because Copilot, which is built into Windows, is much less useful, in my opinion, than Gemini. It's a lot more fluid and easy to use Gemini than Copilot. OpenAI is worried, and I understand why. I understand why there's a code red. I understand why they're worried. I know why they're panicking. Because the competition is just doing incredibly well. So the world of AI is changing. And personally, I think Google will do incredibly well for themselves, depending on how important AI and large language models will truly be in the end, and if it's really worth it. We're not sure about that yet. At the moment, everything is kind of like crazy bananas and bonkers, and everybody just wants AI. It doesn't matter the price, you know? So when it comes to investing in AI companies, be sure to diversify, because we're not sure yet who will win this race. Aside from that, be sure to check out my eToro, where I upload articles multiple times a week. And you can also copy my own portfolio and do exactly as I do when it comes to investing without any extra hidden costs, no costs at all. It's all automated. I'm fully transparent about what I'm doing. I give updates, the whole 9 yards. So be sure to check out my eToro, and may the markets be with you.